Recording in progress. That means we're in. Okay, let's go. Hi, my name is Esther, and welcome to this podcast. The reason it's going to be a podcast is simply because it's going to be talking. So I'm assuming that makes this a video podcast. Anyway, the first thing I want to say here is that I am recording this in no special studio or whatever. I'm using the tools and stuff that I know how to use best, which is the computer and the OG headphones. I tried recording earlier with external microphone of sorts, but this just did not work. So we are not doing that. And I put this off for way too long, and I just need to get to it. And it feels actually so much more comfortable to do it this way. I feel kind of at home. It feels strange. So strange. Okay. Another thing is I want to make this kind of radio style in the way that all of that is kept in. So stuff like hopefully I won't need to sneeze or cough or make any disgusting noises. God forbid I need to fart. I'll just say, excuse me. We might make some exceptions for editing some stuff out. Okay, but for the most part, I want to keep everything in for a few reasons. Be polite. Thank you. Yeah, I want to keep everything in for a few reasons. The first and probably the biggest reason is I would like to contribute to the part of the internet that showcases more real life stuff, if that makes sense. Not necessarily oversharing, because I think there's a massive difference. Some stuff you wouldn't even show to your friends or your neighbors or acquaintances. So there are boundaries in human nature, obviously. But I'd like to share the hiccups here and there, because we are human. In real life, we were talking face to face, or if I was hosting something live, or just doing stuff in real life requires us to think on the spot and to do things on the spot. And especially on YouTube and in the podcast world, from what I've heard, a lot of stuff is really edited in the way that just doesn't emulate real life. And when it's about topics that are meant to be explored in the moment and in the moment, we're meant to do that in the moment. And I think that's something that we're lacking maybe as a society in general, because a lot of people tend to go out less now as a result of the pandemic. But also I think as a result of just technology in general. Even if pandemic didn't happen, right? We're still advancing in the world of technology. And even before that, come on, a lot of people stayed at home already. Please, that was an ongoing joke to continue living how I was living, except I get social permission to. So that's the way that society is leaning towards. And I feel, as a fellow member of society, that that's quite dangerous, because then we're not openly sharing our true thoughts on the spot. We're not exchanging moments of our existence that are meant to change us as people and help us grow as people, as corny as that sounds. Not just watching other people's experiences and then either trying to be entertained or taking some minuscule of a lesson from it, maybe, because most people don't post content to be of value. In general, if it's not like a how-to video or something, most content is for entertainment, because that's what sells in the industry today. Okay, so that's that. Are we recording? Yes, I've been waiting for this. It felt so unnatural outside. What can I just say? I tried recording a video earlier, if I didn't say already. Yeah, I think I said a little bit, but I tried recording a video about something that Shane and I spoke about that I will mention in a moment. And I just felt so hyper aware of my voice and how it sounds, and like worrying about the microphone, worrying about how far the bloody phone camera is, all of that. I'm so happy to do this right now. Okay, so that being said, the second reason I wouldn't like to edit anything. So the first reason being I'd like to contribute to basically the authenticity of the content on the interwebs. Excuse me. And the second reason is to practice my own speech, because I would like to be able to formulate my words better on the spot than I already do. For a long time, I kept thoughts in my head, or if I put them into words, it's mostly on paper or in short snippets of conversation when the time arises. And excuse me. Yeah, when the time arises, and I feel that is not enough. Like I'm hungry to let out more. The reverse of hungry. I want to let out some of the thoughts that I'm having. Okay, so I have prepared a notebook to kind of jot down some things, not necessarily to structure entire episodes, because I also don't want to do that. That's another thing. Not because I'm lazy, but first, I like the idea of free thinking, and that goes hand in hand with not editing the videos length and stuff like that, not making it choppy. I want to be able to free think, and that goes hand in hand with that. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Okay, so all of this is to get to the main idea of why I want to make this podcast. And that is to basically facilitate a place where I can think freely and also share that concept. And what I mean by think freely is like, not like, what are the governments doing? And, thinking about conspiracies and stuff like that. I mean, think freely as in think in a manner that you would think if you had no outside influence. And to me, I would define that as thinking organically. So if you didn't assume or know what other people's opinion about something was, whatever that may be, how would you actually think or feel about it? Okay, and I want to explore those thoughts publicly to kind of encourage people to do that as well, because I know that I'm not the only person who questions certain ways that we live at the moment. And I don't come from any kind of background of, no offense to people who support these kinds of things, but not from any organization or religion, or not from even an strictly educational standpoint, in the way that I want to share what other people have thought and text and stuff. Actually, the complete opposite. So I don't really want to delve into what other material people have produced. I want to be able to free think and come to those sorts of conclusions without having to look at material, because I'm sure you've done that before, and it's fun. That's how we grow as human beings. Okay, so whenever I say think organically, that's what I mean by think organically and thinking all that. Yeah, and that has been going on since the beginning of time, if we think about it. Sorry, just clear my throat again. Yeah, that's been going on since the beginning of time, because if we go back to cavemen, they had no source of reference of how to make a fire. They couldn't do, how do I make a fire? Like on freaking SpongeBob. They had to figure out things as they went, and humanity has, I feel, lost touch with being able to trust their intuition and trust their free flow thoughts and trust their instinct with things that should be quite second nature, because it's in our nature. The second, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, it should come more easily to us. Yeah, when you say something second nature, it means that it comes easily to you. Let me just double check that. So we are checking if something is second nature. Sorry, it's second nature. You know, when you think about something too much and the meaning gets lost in the oblivion, here we go. What time is it? My brain is starting to deplete. Yeah, so if something is second nature to you, it means you can do it easily without much thought there. Exactly what I thought in the first place. Trust yourself. That's another lesson. And that is so funny that just happened, because that is literally one of the very reasons why I wanted to start thinking organically in the first place, is because I feel that strengthens your instinct. Did I say that before? I didn't. There we go. It strengthens. I'm getting excited. Let me just. Okay. Okay. It strengthens your instinct. Going back to the caveman. Okay. So they basically put one and one together with a lot of things, and their subconscious. What I mean by subconscious is the part of their brain that is constantly working, not just their brain, our brain too. We have that. That's it. But the part of our brain that is constantly working, even when we aren't awake, or even when we aren't actively thinking our own thoughts. Okay, so that's the part that helps us to breathe and to know to scratch ourselves because our nerves, stuff like that, stuff that's, I want to say second nature, but I'm using that again, but like in a different way. Wait. Stuff that comes naturally, because we're human. Basically, the animal part of the brain, I would say. And cavemen use the information from their subconscious to survive, basically. So they would know which way to go based on probably the slightest things, like even smells. And they probably weren't actively doing it, like, oh, look, there is some shit there. And then they would avoid the dangerous animal. Even though that is a tactic. I know that's a tactic in real life survival stuff. But I mean, on a subconscious level, I assume they would do that. And they would also know which way it was to water, for example. So those kinds of things that we've naturally gotten good at over time. In the past, we've lost touch of now because of the availability of information. Even though the availability of information is what's supposed to make us smarter as a species. Isn't that like, believe that? Back to front. You know what? Let's include that word. Baliktad means back to front, or upside down, or the wrong way round, or inside out, backwards, the wrong way round. Okay, that is so baliktad. We live in a time where we've currently got, and it's constantly being increased. We've got so much information at our fingertips, more information than anybody before us has ever had. Like, we could build that wasn't me, by the way. I've moved the store. That was not my arsehole. Just for the record. Okay, but we've currently got more information than ever at our fingertips and thumbs, and I feel we're as weak as ever as a human species, as a species. We are very strong, of course. Humans are survivors and they are strong, but we are in a period of humanity. I don't know why. We're in a period of humanity that has actively and openly and consistently displayed now that it's quite weak compared to its predecessors. Right? I'm just looking at the map over there. It's like we've lived on this earth for thousands of years and we've gone through some really bad stuff. I'm sure you can think of stuff in history. If you can't, let me give you some examples. Let's go really far, 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 far back. And we endured fucking World War One in a time where weaponry was quite new. Like the gun game on a mass basis was really, 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 really new. And that shit would have been terrifying to normal people, let alone the people who had to actually wield the weapons and go and kill each other and be psychologically damaged. And then those people had another generation of people who had parents who were doing that for the first time. And so I imagine the stories that they got told and the way that they were raised was quite rough. And they had it really difficult. And they managed to get through those tough times by having a really tough mindset. And so on and so forth in each different culture. The amount that we've been through as a species is absolutely incredible. And the fact that we are where we are today in terms of technology, in terms of information, in terms of even entertainment, it's just absolutely crazy. But we're as weak as ever because we openly don't trust ourselves and our abilities to do things, even like as very simple as thinking for ourselves. I know this sounds really simple, right? And I'm not mocking people who do this. I honestly feel so bad for them. My heart really, really, really feels for them. And I hope that people find a way out of that kind of thinking, because that's debilitating. To constantly look to others for approval of your own thoughts is absolute insanity. So we need to start to trust ourselves. And the way to do that is to start organically thinking. Okay, so we've been going for 17 minutes now. How are you doing, darling? Thank you. Okay, so organically thinking. And in really simple ways, I feel the first way to practice that is like not Googling obvious stuff, but then checking the answer. So that will practice your ability to make educated guesses based on what your subconscious has taken in, if that makes sense. And you collected a lot of information along the way of your life, whether it's through the internet, hearing stuff, reading something, going past a sign, reading an ad on a car, anything that we pass or come across or take in with our senses in life, I truly believe is stored in the subconscious. It must go somewhere. Okay, if we take the concept of humans being computers, like so many people like to make the comparison, because it's an easy comparison to make in the way that the way we think is our software and then this is our hardware. So we execute things that are originally in our brain. And so if we execute with our body things that are originally in our brain, then we need to be quite careful about what's going on in our brain. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't have a direct impact on how we live our life. And the more that we respect that, and the more that we learn to trust ourselves and our own thoughts and our own sanity and our own opinions and our own beliefs and our own instinct, then the more confident you'll be in just existing on this earth. And I see a lot of people, real life and online, and that don't trust themselves when really they are asking themselves the right questions. They just don't trust themselves for the answer. And because we are made of nature, we are of the natural world. You're not a robot. We are of the natural world. So we work as nature does. And nature can figure things out when things go slightly wrong. It's not the end of something just because we feel like it is, because our thoughts get in the way and make us believe that. And that's what makes people usually need other people's approval for their own opinions and stuff, because, they lack that trust in the first place. So how to exercise that, going back to Google, how to exercise that is, to guess things. and then to check your answer. It's okay if you feel it's totally wrong, then that's a new bit of information. It's not just to learn stuff, it's about training your intuition. It's not about knowing random facts, because I don't think that's the essence of being intelligent and living intelligently. By intelligent, I do not mean being able to spew facts like the blooming cash shoot laughing. No, I mean intelligent as in being able to take different pieces of information that you've acquired through various sources, whatever that may be, and put those different pieces of information together to make sense of something, depending on what that thing is. Okay? And to not be biased by other people's opinions or perceptions, so you can have organic thoughts about that. And the more we practice that, the more confident we become in that. So when you feel like you have a feeling about something, most of the time that is correct. That's our intuition collecting all the data from real life and presenting it to you in a feeling, in a hunch, in something. And then you're right later, and you usually don't say, oh, I thought this was going to happen before it happens. But then afterwards you think, wow, I wish I said that. I literally just thought that would happen. Now I sound like an absolute tit if I say it. Now I just sound like I want attention or something if I even say that. But that's your intuition. And the more you trust it, even if it's just between you, you and yourself, for the most part, the more you trust it, the better you'll become at noticing when it's speaking to you, and noticing when things are really lining up the way that you think they are. Okay, wherever that may be. And I'm talking as small as guessing the amount that you need to spend when you go Tesco. Yeah, guessing the amount of your shopping. I've tried that several times, just to play, just to have a little game with the mind. See, okay, let's see. Put random shit in the trolley, get to the counter, and it's like, okay, I think that's going to be a lot. 35. And it's 33.90. Like, what? That's pretty close. So the brain does the general calculation. And I don't mean adding one by one by one. I mean collectively looking and then just making a quick guess, not thinking too much. And that's a key as well. Not thinking too much, just have fun with it. And then when the serious times come, we can feel more equipped to deal with those situations. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. If anybody has any idea what I'm talking about, please elaborate in your own way. I would absolutely love to hear anybody else's thoughts on this, because this is a topic that I feel is underrated and needs to be a core part of society, because we all have brains. It's really important to, teach the younger generation how to equip themselves mentally so that they feel ready and prepared to be in the real world. Because a lot of my generation and even the generation above are struggling at the moment as adults, because it's like, bing, you're an adult in the real world then. Here's the world as it is, enjoy. Consumerism, self-hate. It's like, it's just, anyway. I hope you like that theatrical experience there. Yeah, so I hope genuinely that makes sense. As I said, I'm not going to cut any parts of the video. So if you're listening this far, that is actually so cute. Thank you. Thank you. I prepared a sunflower for you. Yeah. Okay, so let me see what else. How to practice doing that. Yeah, I've practiced doing that in those ways. Just going back to that. And now I feel much more confident in small things. Sometimes they're wrong, of course, but in bigger things, like when I've met new people and, there's no reason to not like them or not think that they're a good person. And it's not that we shouldn't think that people are good people off the bat, but sometimes when you just get a feeling when you see someone, you're just like, there's something off about you. It's not even the way you're treating me. You haven't even treated anyone like anything. It's just something maybe in the eyes or something in the way they move, the way they shift. And it's like, there's something I really, really don't trust about you. Like, I'm going to just steer clear or be really weary of you. And 9 out of 10 times, especially with people, it's the intuition feeling has been right. So that is like a sign to me. If there's a feeling and then the feeling turns out to be right, it's like, hey, that's a tool. That's a tool for living. Otherwise, you might as well be living like a tool, because that's how we get about life. And then like something bad happens. I'm not saying that nothing bad, bad people will be bad people. Do you get what I mean, though? We can avoid certain pains and disturbances and unwanted situations in life if we listen to our intuition more. I really feel that our life, our existence in general, can be a bit more pleasant and bearable and, just worth living. And you can feel more confident in yourself, which I feel also enhances the experience of existing. Feeling confident is underrated, and thinking your own thoughts is underrated. I know people think, respect opinions. It's like, yeah, we should respect opinions. It's true, but we shouldn't take on other people's opinions just like that. Oh, I respect you. Oh, I believe that too. No, because if you feel it inside that, I don't actually agree with that. Go with that feeling. Why don't you agree with that? Question yourself. Ask yourself if you really, really, really agree with that thing, whatever it may be. And if the answer is no, then go with your heart, so to speak, go with your gut, your instinct. That, I feel, is following your true self. And that, I swear, builds confidence. Okay. That is what makes you really, really be sure of yourself and how you can be in a potato sack, if you had to be, and walk around in front of Buckingham Palace. Okay, maybe not. Something else, because you might get arrested for that. But you won't, you'll be much more carefree, is what I'm trying to say. Okay? You'll be much, much, much more carefree. And yeah, it'll make existence more worthwhile. So I feel that's a good place to end the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Let me just check if I covered all the points. So my reason for wanting to think organically, yeah. The concept of exercising that muscle, yeah. Be caveman and intuition, yeah. See how I practice doing that and the benefits I've seen. Yeah, covered them all. Fantastical. Yeah. Oh, and I might as well mention what I made a video about earlier. So it's been quite a rough time in personal life for various reasons. By rough, I mean like lots of things to do. Lots of loose ends to tie and decisions to make that are quite big decisions, and you have to do those every once in a while, and yeah, it's almost the middle of summer here, so it's getting hot. The leaves are falling off the tree. I promise this is going somewhere. The leaves are falling off the tree. It's been so dry, and Shane's been sweeping his back up like every day, and they just fall. And it's been quite annoying, but it's dry season. It's to be expected. But we've just noticed the leaves at the end of the branches have all begun to sprout so beautifully, so tiny. And she was just like looking at them thinking, wow, I was so pissed off at those, like sweeping those. And now those leaves are so beautiful. And he just went into this whimsical, poetic moment about how you can either see it as it's time for these new leaves to grow and to sprout and to have the beginning of their new life, as much as it's time for the other leaves to fall, because that's all part of the cycle. And I just thought, oh, that is just the most wonderful thing. And we can learn from that. Um, we can learn that from all things in nature, I feel. And we went on a tangent talking about it. In everything in nature, it has its cycle. And we are nature as well. We're not like trees. I mean, we're made up of natural substances. Whether we like it or not, we are connected to the earth in some way. And we exist in a cyclical manner in accordance to the earth and probably the universe beyond it. People have not studied that deep into our existence yet. So that's quite exciting. And nothing hurts by thinking in ways that might enhance your existence on earth. So in relation to life, sometimes when things feel difficult or you're in some kind of transition period, it helps to remember that new nice things are around the corner and that this is a part of the cycle that we need to be patient with because the next part is coming. And even if we don't see the things we want to see or the results or the anything, if we aren't existing in the way that we expect to be right now, that's okay. And we have to consciously interject ourselves and our feelings by wanting to be in the moment and enjoying those moments and understanding that the next season will come. And that's fine too. We should enjoy all the seasons. All the seasons of life are worth enjoying because they all lead to one another. They wouldn't exist without each other. So just to remember that, I think is quite comforting. And yeah, I think there is a nice place to end it. Is that cool? Thank you, darling, for bearing with me. I love you so much. What? Thank you for bearing with me. I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you also for bearing with me. That was so much fun. We shall do this again. I hope the audio is great. I hope you enjoyed listening to my rambles. And for now, that is all, my friends. Okay. And that is Exploring Existence with Esther. I shall see you next time. Bye. That is some considerate shit. They did not put this on the note. What? Thank you so much, Ban Meow Meow. They are so cute. Yeah, they love this notebook. They love notebooks, you know what I mean? Oh, great. Look at that. Podcast notes. Fantastical. How wonderful.